Hi guys, welcome back. Two bikes which are in most people's radar is Honda CB Hornet 160R and Yamaha's new FZ-S version 3.0. So we're gonna compare both of them by checking everything that matters while choosing a bike, like the design, technical specification, ride quality and comfort, mileage and price. So let's not waste any time and start with the first factor, which is the design. From the front, the FZ-S version 3.0 has a modern looking headlamp which is LED. The pilot light is not LED light, and for the visibility at night, it is good and you won't have any issues. Taking a look at the Hornet, its headlamp is not as modern as the one on the FZ-S version 3.0, but here also you get LED headlamps and even the pilot light is LED. And for nighttime visibility, it's slightly better than the one on the FZ-S in terms of range. Next, for the speedometer console, both the bikes get fully digital speedometer, and here the one found on the FZ-S version 3.0 looks more striking. Hornet's speedometer is not a bad one, but it's something we are used to and looks a bit dated compared to the FZ-S one. For the information that the speedometer consoles show, both of them shows all the necessary stuff, and for the visibility under direct sunlight, you won't have any issues from both the consoles. Taking a look at the tail light, the X-shaped one on the Hornet is the one I like compared to the more standard Yamaha style one found on the FZ-S. The pillion grab rail on both of them looks sleek and is comfortable for the pillion to hold. For the muffler, Yamaha's FZ-S has the new mid-shift muffler which is compact and sharp. The muffler on the Hornet is a stubby muffler and it's also striking. The fuel tank on both the bikes are muscular tanks, and both of them have good curves to tuck in your leg while riding. There are some uniqueness to both the tanks. The FZ-S tank has a chrome plating from the front which makes it look elegant. The Hornet, it doesn't have any chrome finishes but has a bold graphics and carbon fiber pattern on the tank. Now for the handlebar, they both have the straight type handlebar with all necessary controls. The color scheme of the handlebars is different, and in the FZ-S it has a black color handlebar while the Hornet has a silver colored one. And for the switch controls, both of them have the dim bar bright switch, indicator toggle, horn, pass light and self-start switch, and one difference here is that the FZ-S has an engine kill switch while the Hornet misses out on the engine kill switch but has the hazard switch. And one thing to note here is that the FZ-S version 3.0 has an undercowl which is missing on the Hornet. Now for the color choices, the FZ-S version 3.0 has 3 color choices, and the one shown here is the dark matte blue. And I have to say, the matte finish used is awesome. And for the Hornet, you have 5 color options, and the ones shown in the video are the Mars Orange and the Athletic Blue Metallic. So for the design, both the bikes look modern and attractive, and I like the design of both the bikes, but if I had to choose one, I would slightly lean towards the FZ-S version 3.0. The second factor we'll check is the specifications of both the bikes, and in that, first for the overall dimensions, the Hornet is a slightly bigger bike with a length of 2041 mm and wheelbase of 1346 mm. And for the FZ-S, the overall dimensions are slightly less with a length of 1990 mm and a wheelbase of 1330 mm. For the ground clearance, the FZ-S version 3.0 has a ground clearance of 165 mm, and for the Hornet, it is 164 mm, and I didn't experience issues while riding through rough conditions. For the weight, the Hornet weighs more with ABS standard version weighing 140 kg and the ABS Deluxe version weighing 141 kg, while the FZ-S version 3.0 is light compared to the Hornet at 137 kg. And now moving to the engine specification, starting with the FZ-S version 3.0, it is powered by Yamaha's 149cc air-cooled 4-stroke 2-valve single-cylinder engine which can produce maximum power of 13.2 PS at 8000 rpm and maximum torque of 12.8 Nm at 6000 rpm. And for the Hornet, the engine is Honda's 162.71cc air-cooled 4-stroke single-cylinder engine which produces maximum power of approximately 15.1 PS at 8500 rpm and maximum torque of 14.5 Nm at 6500 rpm. And for the gearbox, both the bikes have 5-speed gearbox. Now for the starting method, in the FZ-S it is just self-start, while the Hornet it has self-start as well as kickstart. And one thing to note here is that the fuel supply system of the FZ-S version 3.0 is fuel injection, while the CB Hornet 160R's fuel supply system is still carburetor. And moving to the brakes, FZ-S version 3.0 has just one version, and the front and rear are both disc brakes with ABS equipped just on the front, while the Hornet has different versions available, and for ABS there are actually two versions, and the one we tested is the ABS standard version, in which the front is a 276mm disc brake while the rear is 130mm drum brake, and here also ABS is just equipped on the front. So do keep in mind both the bikes just have single channel ABS. And finally for the suspension, the FZ-S has telescopic fork front suspension and swing arm monocross rear suspension. Same is the case with the Hornet. The front is a telescopic suspension and the rear is a monoshock suspension. Specs are good for reference, but what really matters is the third factor, which is the ride quality and comfort. We'll start with the FZ-S version 3.0, and the engine here is a very well refined engine. I didn't experience any vibrations while riding in low or high speed, and for the performance, the initial pickup in the first gear is not very abrupt, and I felt it was more leaning towards a linear power delivery. But on shifting gears, which by the way offers smooth gear shifts, the engine generates enough power and you can easily hit 80 plus mark. The bike can hit 100 plus mark and still you won't feel any discomfort. And one thing I was surprised is even though it's not a heavy bike, the bike was well planted on the ground even in high speed. So for the engine performance, the FZ-S won't disappoint you. But the best part here is the ride quality and control you get from the bike. The seating posture is upright with the handlebar placed towards the rider and also on the higher side. The single seat used is also comfortable with adequate cushioning, and it is even wide and long enough so both the rider and the pillion won't feel any discomfort. And the FZ-S version 3.0 is actually a bike that provides great riding control. You can swiftly maneuver through traffic and the bike actually flows with you at ease. The brakes are also perfect, which offers excellent stopping, and the tires used are sufficiently wide, which further helps in cornering, and both the brakes and wide tires together avoids any skids. And for the suspension, even though it's a bit on the stiffer side, I didn't experience any stress or strain even while riding through rough conditions. So overall, I'm very happy with the ride quality and comfort from the new FZ-S version 3.0. And now for the Hornet, the engine used is typical Honda, which is very refined and smooth. This is also a more powerful engine compared to the FZ-S version 3.0, and actually you can feel it. This engine is a bit more agile than the one in the FZ-S, and the power is actually laid out evenly and the bike doesn't hesitate to hit the 100 mark. And even at high speed, you won't experience any vibrations. The gearbox coupled to the engine provides smooth gear shifting, and for the engine performance, the Hornet has a slight upper hand compared to the FZ-S version 3.0. Now the seating posture of the Hornet is upright and the handle here also is placed closer to the rider. Seating is a bit on the lower side in the Hornet compared to the FZ-S, but it is comfortable with adequate cushioning, and the seats are actually comfortable for both the rider and the pillion. Now for the control, the Hornet is also easy to handle and you won't have any issues maneuvering through traffic, but compared to FZ-S, it is the FZ-S which actually offers better ride control. Then for the brakes, as I said before, the version I tested is the ABS standard, and even though you're only getting drum brakes on the rear, the braking is still pretty good. Even if you want to do a quick brake while riding at high speed, the bike stops without any skids or issues. And the tires used are also thick enough to assist you while cornering. And finally for the suspension used on the Hornet felt a bit more soft compared to the FZ-S, and this one is also good and I didn't experience any stress or strain while riding through some rough patches. The next factor, which is the fourth factor, is the mileage. Yamaha's FZ-S version 3.0 has a bigger tank compared to the Hornet. The capacity of the FZ-S tank is 12.8 liters, while that of the Hornet is 12 liters. And for the mileage, during our testing, we got approximately 45 km for the FZ-S, and for the Hornet, we got slightly better mileage of approximately 50 km per liter. This will vary based on the way you ride and also on the road conditions and traffic. So now to the final factor, which is a very important factor, is the price. First, for the FZ-S version 3.0, there is just one variant and the ex-showroom pricing of it is approximately 98,855 Indian rupees, and for the Hornet ABS versions, there are actually two variants, and for the ABS standard, it is approximately 95,562 Indian rupees ex-showroom, and for the ABS Deluxe, it is approximately 98,062 Indian rupees ex-showroom. And that's everything. Both the bikes are really good ones with sharp design and good performance, whether you just want to commute in the city or go for long tour. Now choosing one from the two is a difficult thing because everyone's preference changes. Both of the bikes have their own advantages and disadvantages, and you need to check your priorities before choosing one. Like for example, if raw performance is what matters to you, then I would say Hornet has the upper hand. But if ride control is all that matters, then surely FZ-S version 3.0 is better than the Hornet. Now this is just one factor for deciding, and there are a lot of other stuff like design, mileage, price, etc. So which all factors are important will lead to the final decision, and for me, out of the two, I'll pick FZ-S version 3.0, and the reasons for choosing the FZ-S version 3.0 is that I like the design of the FZ-S slightly more than the Hornet, and then for the ride control, the FZ-S was better compared to the Hornet, and also fuel injection is future-proof compared to the carburetor system. But the Hornet is also an excellent option with better engine performance, slightly better mileage, and also if you go for the ABS standard version, it is a bit cheap compared to the FZ-S version 3.0. That's up for this video guys. Hope you liked it. If so, please do hit the like button and please do subscribe. And also please leave in the comment section which one is your choice. See you again in the next video. Till then, bye.